What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Keeping It Real podcast. I'm your host, James, joined by one of my co-hosts, Rhys. I really struggle saying that word. Co-hosts,
Co-hosts.
Rhys, to talk about Fresh, the new... What genre would you place this in? Sort of a romantic thriller?
Yeah, romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From romantic thriller from director Mimi Cave, which in the States, I believe, premiered on Hulu this past week, and in the UK on Disney Plus. So it's starring Sebastian Stan, who we know from many things now, but mainly, I guess, as Bucky from the MCU, and Daisy Edgar Jones. Am I remembering that correct?
Yep.
Yes. And Daisy's character Noah, sort of, having a bit of trouble in the in her dating life. She really can't find the right guy until she bumps into our handsome fellow Steve in the vegetable aisle at the supermarket. Just the perfect little meet cute. They go out for drinks. They have dinner. They start dating. Everything is going swimmingly until they go on a romantic little weekend away together. And I honestly, I don't want to spoil much in this opening because I knew very little when I watched Fresh, but I'll just say
I
thought it was going to
go very, I knew it was going to take a turn, but I thought it was going to go a very different direction.
Yes. I knew there was something wrong with him because of the what I'd heard about the film. But it was different than what I had in my head. I know this is going to be very difficult to talk about spoiler-free wise, or just do a quick minute on it. But what did you think about Fresh, Rhys?
Yeah, it was it was pretty good. I do think it had a little bit of pacing issues. I felt like it's 2 hours long, which is the norm now for films. Well, I think it's just under 2 hours, but I think there were certain bits of it that were very slow to me. And when it gets into like the main story, the main brunt of it, there's lots of bits where I'm kind of like, yeah, we get it, so move on. Like, but again, I think Sebastian Stan and Daisy Edgar Jones did a really good job. I think it's like a weird kind of romance / thriller mystery. I thought it was going to be slightly more of a horror. It wasn't, but I'm okay with that. And I liked the supporting cast as well. There wasn't too much of them, but I liked the roles they played. But I felt there were some pacing issues. But when it did, at the last 20 minutes of the film is like super fast and it's like kind of at you. But I think I was expecting more of that because of the direction I thought it was going to go, which I'll talk about more when we do spoilers.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good.
Pretty good. I really enjoyed this. You talked about the pacing. I think I would have preferred this maybe, what's my phrase I used to like? A tight 90. There we go. I would have preferred this as a tight 90. But Sebastian Stan, I think he's really great. I think, as well as his stuff in the MCU, he's really proven himself outside of that as well. Did you watch Pam and Tommy that he did recently?
No, I haven't watched that.
I thought he was great in that. He did I, Tonya a couple of years ago, which I thought he was really good in. But yeah, Daisy Edgar Jones in this, I thought really, really impressed me. I know she's getting a lot more work recently. I don't believe I've seen her in anything before. I didn't get a chance to look up her previous credits, but I'm not. I'm pretty sure I don't recognize her from anything before.
No, I don't.
And I know she had a trailer for something come out today, which I'm blanking on the name of. But yeah, two really good leads who had really good chemistry. They bounced really well off each other, and when it is purely a romantic movie, I would have been happy with that for 2 hours. I was like, this is perfectly pleasant. I'm really enjoying watching these two people get to know each other. But when it does take that turn about 30 minutes in. Wow, this movie is fucked up. And I knew it was gonna take some sort of messed up turn at one point, but it was really gross, and I was eating food while I was watching it, and I wish I wasn't
Yeah,
now.
these kind of films are so great because this isn't the first time this has been done.
No.
Like what this guy does, but every time you watch it, people are like, ugh. Like it's one of those reactions in it. Where
I'm always surprised because it's just so unnatural. It's just something that shouldn't be done. That being said, let's just dive into spoilers because I think we really can't talk about anything else. So half an hour into this movie, Steve drugs Noah, she collapses, and I thought this was brilliant. The way 30 minutes into the movie, that's when they do the opening titles and the opening credits.
Yeah,
I thought
really
was
like
fantastic because I was like, you couldn't have put that at the beginning because it's waiting
it's like, this
for
is
that
when,
reveal to happen, that twisted reveal.
That's when the film really starts.
Shows its true colors, and it's I thought that was fantastic, and I was like, oh yes, let's go. So yeah, he drugs Noah. She wakes up in his basement. So what we knew about Steve beforehand, he said he was a doctor. He's off all social media. He doesn't have an online presence at all, which harder
is
to
a
track.
red flag.
Yes,
it's a massive red flag. Like a friend says, that is, if I ever met someone, they were like, "Yeah, I'm not on social media," I'd be like, "Well, you must be a psychopath.
You must eat people." Which is a shame, really, because I feel sometimes I wish I could be off social media, and I think that's something that should be applauded. But
you can be, but just make one and then never use it.
Just don't use it, yeah. I guess that is the state of today, though, isn't it? I mean, everyone's on it. So when someone's like, "No, I'm not," we're like, "Oh, freak."
What did you do?
Yeah, what the fuck do you do in your spare time? And we find out what this guy does in his spare time. He locks people up in his basement. He hacks pieces off them and sells their meat on the dark web. Which,
for me, right, that is weird enough. So I don't think they needed the kind of satanic imagery on like the box. Then later on, when he's cutting up a piece of body, they have the goat again. I don't think you need the satanic imagery because eating people is weird enough as it is. They don't need to be like, I would have preferred it if they weren't a cult and if they were just like ordinary people. Like, they have to be rich people because how much it costs.
Well, yeah.
But like you saw them, like, one of them was like a sub to a dominatrix and stuff, and it's just like, what if you were just a bloke who has kids and a wife,
just with very specific tastes?
But like, to me, that is creepier. That it could just be like someone like
average people,
rather than the like, what is it, 1% of the 1%? These like people who sit in big towers and
I completely get what you mean. I have this philosophy anyway. I think all rich people are weird, satanic cultists, freaks. Anyway, so that was no surprise to me. It was the angle of when Steve is also consuming the meat, which I was like, oh, don't. Why do you have to be both? I thought he was going to sort of be in this, not grey area, I suppose, but he was like, no, I don't go that far. I just sell the shit.
See, the way I thought it was going to go is I didn't know he was a cannibal. I don't think I did anyway.
I think I thought he was a cannibal, yeah.
Like,
but not
I was like, he's a serial killer. He's a serial killer, and that's what he is. And I thought it was going to be, they fall in love, she finds out, there's a big to-do about it, but ultimately she helps.
Right. Okay.
I was like, that's an interesting film. I'd like to see a couple serial killers, but yeah, but this kind of her being like his like prisoner, and for him still like falling for her, I think was still a really interesting story.
Yeah,
But
it would. I think the story was really interesting to me, and
that was what.
Go on.
Those are the bits that went too long for me. Was just her in the cell and like talking to, was it Penny? Is that her name? Yeah, Penny, who's next.
Yeah, the other prisoner.
I feel like those bits were I was a bit like, we get it.
I think because I was enjoying the scenes between those two so much, between Sebastian Stan and Daisy Edgar Jones, where I was like, I don't want scenes of her locked in the.
Just give me that in it, like, and especially because nothing really happens with or to Penny. Obviously, they get her out at the end, which is nice. But I feel like that's not a big enough payoff to warrant spending so much time with this character.
I think there was the purpose of those scenes maybe was to establish that Noah was different than these other victims, that he, despite what he was doing in his own fucked up way, he did like her. And, because she's talking to Penny, and they like the other girls never got this, they never like sort of got that far into a relationship.
Yeah.
And the way Penny talks about him is sort of like, is she still like sort of under his charm?
Yeah, it's like he is this charming that they still are like.
Yeah, he's like
madly in love with him. He's hacking bits off. Do you think he cut off his wife's leg?
Yes, yeah, I did.
Okay, because I was like, either he did, or I was like, oh, that's just totally unrelated. Because I was surprised that she was.
What a coincidence!
I was really surprised that she was in on it. Like, to the point where at the end she was going to kill Noah for killing Steve.
Well, yeah, I get that. That is just this weird thing that these girls are sort of so enamored by Steve that one, despite being locked in a basement, is still like, oh, but he's so nice. And then obviously his wife is just, maybe she started off as a victim, and then got wrapped up in this world.
Yeah, so I thought maybe she was the one who wrote the note in the magazine.
Right.
And later on, you see that it wasn't. It was just another totally unrelated girl.
Yeah. I think the bits that disturbed me most about this film were when there's this sort of like, when he's preparing the meat, and there's this sort of like ritualistic artistry to the way he's doing it, and that is what disturbed me the most, because he couldn't see how fucked it was.
Yeah, and a lot of the time it just looked like meat
food.
Yeah, but in like a shop. Like when he makes the meatball, that's the meatball. Or, like later on with the breast, which has one of the coldest lines where he's like, "It may be familiar," because it's like you're eating your best friend's boob.
Oh,
like I was like, and it's one of those lines that they didn't really acknowledge it because she's doing her own thing. She's like crying, laughing, but like you see it, you're like, oh.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
Yeah, I mean that bit didn't look like meat. That looked like something foreign. But I think it was when with the pate, it was just pate. Like
they did it in Hannibal as well, the TV show. I don't know if you ever watched it, but obviously Hannibal is maybe the most famous of cannibals. And when he prepares all this food for his guests to eat, it looks fucking divine. And I'm like, damn, what a spread this man's put on. And then you're like, oh, no, it's all people. It's all people. Don't touch it. yeah, it's definitely fucked up, and I think the way they blended the humor inside all of that was really, really well done.
Yeah.
So the story develops where, you know, Noah's like, I'm not gonna go down without a fight. I've got to figure my way. I've got to figure my way out of this situation. And she figures that, you know, the only way I'm gonna get out is to go in a bit more. So I'm gonna convince this guy that, you know, I'm still into this. And maybe if he was to show me more of his world, then I could be convinced to join him as well. So she, you know, she is treated to some lovely meatballs, which oh and I don't like how he knew whose meat it
The
was,
names.
the
Yeah, yeah,
names,
yeah.
and there
It
was
was
that.
those little touches that kind of made it really, and how we had them labeled and they had like
Yeah,
dates.
yeah.
I was looking at those dates and I was like, are those dates when he killed them or when the meat goes off?
Oh,
Either way,
either one is
because
fucked.
it is pretty fucked up to know when human meat is gonna start
Yeah,
rotting.
no one should ever know that. um, I there was a couple of great jokes in there where, you know, like some of the girls were called like Hope or
Hope, yeah.
Joy, and she was like, "Well, that's very sort of profound. You are consuming hope." And then one of the girls towards the end is called Melissa, and yeah, Noah's
She's like,
like,
that's
"Well,
boring.
yeah, that's what a boring choice." And then yeah, so she she gets in deep. She convinces Steve that, you know, they go to have sex again, and she bites his dick off, which
That was so funny because I was watching it with Kaz, and she just went, "Bite his dick off." Then she does it, and Kaz went, "Ah!"
oh no.
Kaz went, "Oh yeah," and I was watching it like,
oh god, yeah, that I mean, yeah,
she's got.
shamefully out of
I
everything
mean,
in this film, that
I
made
don't
me squirm the
know.
most.
I don't know how hard it would be to bite off a dick. She's got some jaw strength.
If you want it bad enough, Rhys,
And the way she does it as well, that shot
that
is so
dick is
good.
coming off.
Like her
Yeah.
mouth just like, and it's like, oh.
And I was thinking, I was like, because obviously Steve starts to fight back, and he does eventually get into a confrontation with Noah, Penny, and I can't remember Noah's friend's name. Molly. Gets into a confrontation with all three of them. But I was just thinking, I was like, well, if that had just happened to me, I'd just be out for the count. I'd just count my losses. You know, the jig is up. That is, I'm gonna call it a day. I don't know. Carried on.
If someone had cut off my ass, leg, or breast, I would not be able to do what they were doing.
I don't know how she was dancing without an
When she
ass.
gets up on that table and like fucking roundhouse kicks her off the table, I was like, "How are you doing that?
You've got no ass."
Just be in so much pain.
That it's just a testament to the human spirit, Rhys, of survival. Despite having no glutes, she persisted and she got out of there. She murdered her kidnapper.
It was less weight dragging her down, wasn't it? She could get away with it.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, to wrap things up, this is a really fucked up movie, but it's got quite a sweet, tender beginning.
Yeah, it's got a bit
30
of
minutes. Yeah. And I think, you know, that charm, despite being lost from the situation of it all, the film itself does have a charm to it, where it's very playful, and despite how fucked up it is, it's not shying away from how fucked up it is.
No.
But it is also, you know, playing with it, and there is comedy in there, and it is a very, very enjoyable watch. Maybe a bit shorter would have been better, but yeah, two really solid performances from the leads. Yeah, just I really recommend checking this out. Anything more to say on Fresh, Rhys?
No,
No, then what are you going to give it out of 5?
I will give it I give it a 4. So I said there was some pacing issues for me. I felt like it was a bit long. And there were times where I kind of wanted to hurry it up. But performances were good. Story was really interesting and quite original. I don't know of many stories where, they fall in love with a serial killer cannibal.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I think it's a good movie. I'd recommend it. So I'll give it a 4.
Nice. I'm also going to give it a 4. Yeah, really kept me on my toes. Really enjoyed it throughout. 2 really solid performances. So yeah, check this out on Disney Plus, or if you are listening from the States, on Hulu. Right, that is it for our review of Fresh. If you're listening on YouTube, then let us know down below in the comments what you thought of the movie. Also, like and subscribe. If you're listening on another streaming platform, then rate, like, follow, all that good stuff. It really helps us out. And until next time, keep it real.